In this session, we are going to learn how to perform the API load testing using JMeter. So for that purpose, I have already my APIs which are deployed on my local machine. If you want for your learning purpose, you can go to this website reqres.in, and here you can see lots of APIs are there. Okay, but again, as I mentioned in my previous videos also, whenever you are using any API for testing purpose, don't try to make a heavy load on that. Means don't try to create so many users and so many request loop count means. Okay, otherwise what happens that these website can block you. Okay, so if but you can use for limited number of requests like 5, 10, you can use it. Okay, I have my own API on my local machine that is deployed, so I'm using it that. Okay, so now let me come to the, you can say, JMeter. In the JMeter, this is my test plan. I have already thread group. I'm also taking the example of only 5 users. Okay, so now let me add first request add. So whenever you are going to test any API, so for the API we don't have any specific you can say sampler here. We use the HTTP request because HTTP request is also the same. Okay, HTTP request means your API actually use the HTTP request. So here first API I'm going to test, that is get all students. Okay, this is my when API get all students. Okay, so now we need to configure it. I can give the name, and now let me save it, and this is my get all students. So this is my first request. Okay, now important thing is that here you have to give the protocol. So by default here you can say your protocol is HTTP. So in your APIs, if you're using any API, for example, if you're using these API, so here you can say if you're using these API, for example, let me open in this one. So these API are, you can say that, using the HTTPS. So if you're using these API, in that case you have to put the, here you have to put at HTTPS. You have to mention this thing. But if your API are using HTTP, you don't need to mention it. Okay, you can leave it blank. By default, it is HTTP. So if you take the example of I'm using HTTP. Okay, so now second thing is that this is the second thing. This is the called server name or IP. So again, in my case, you can say I'm using this API which is deployed on my local. So I'm mentioning the local host. If you are using this API, your server name will be this one. This is your you can say your server name, or you can say domain name. You can use this in place of a local host. Okay, and now third thing, in my case of in my API, this is my port. So you can say if you are using the domain, like so it is a domain is all, you can say domain name is actually a combination of server IP and port. So if you are using this API, so you don't need to mention the port explicitly. But in my case, you can say I'm using a local host, so I need to give the port here, so I'm putting it here. Okay, this is the, otherwise you can leave it blank. Okay, so now here you have to select the type of method. So in my case currently I'm using get, so let me put it get here. And now the important thing is that this is called the rest of the path, or you can say resource path. So let me copy it here, and now let me going to put it here. Okay, so in future videos, I will show you that whenever you are creating some data here, like local host, and this is the base path actually. So you don't need to write directly here. You can create a local variables, or you can create the globals variables for that. So you don't need to write this information at multiple places. Okay. So for the timing, I'm putting here. Okay. Now this is get. We have given the path. We have localhost, and now we are good to go. Okay, so now how we can see the result? For that purpose, I need to add some listeners here. So I'm going to add one listener. I think for the time being, I can add the listener here. That is view result tree. That is enough. If needed, we can add a. If you want to learn that other type of listener also, you can watch my video in this playlist. Okay, so now I've given this thing. Now let me save it, and now let me run it and see that it is working or not. So let me run it, and I can see that it has sent the request here. 5 requests are there because we have 5 threads are there. Okay, now this is request, and now this is, you can say request is this one, and the response I'm getting the whole data here. Okay, you can see that this is the whole data. So this is one type of request, that is get all student. Okay, now I can add multiple requests I told you. So let me add one more request, that is called sampler, and again I will do the HTTP request. Okay, or I can do one thing. I can double right click on and make it duplicate. So I did not don't need to copy it, and it will create another one. And now I can change it. Get students by name. Get students by ID. So this is the, you can say, my another API in which you can say, let me go and check the what is the data here. So in my API, you can see that this is the, everything is same. You can say only the thing is that URL is changed. So in the URL, at the end of that URL, I have to pass some ID here. Everything is same. So I will go here, and here I have to write slash, and whatever ID I want to get. For example, I'm getting the ID of 4 here. Okay, so now this is all, and this is a method. So I think it is good to go. Let me save it, and now let me run it. Okay, so same thing again. Let me run it, and let me clean the old records here, and now let me run it again. So you can see that. So how many requests, how many total requests we will say that, or sample we will say the 10, because again, I told you this thing, the previous thing also, we have 5 users, but every user will have a right to send one request of each sampler. So every 10 you can say user will send these 2 requests. So total request will be 20. You can see here. So, oh, sorry, 2 here, so it will be 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can see here. If you want to see, you can come down and you can see in the, you can say total here, sampler here. So, okay. So now, or you can do one thing, like if you want to see both, let me add one another view also, so that it will be more clear to get other type of information related to the this one. So now let me clear it, and now let me run it. So I will see the, you can say, listener I've added, so that you can see in both the views here. So here you can say it is running the 10, as I told you that every user is sending both type of request here. You can say that get all student and this one. So we have added 2. Now 2 are working fine. Now we can add other type of request. Let me add sampler. So again, I'm telling you that I can do one thing. I can add another one, or I can copy it, but this time let me add a fresh one. This one ST request, and here I will take the example of post based API. Okay, so in the post based API, what you can do here, so let me write create student, or you can say create, yeah, create student. And you can do one thing here. Create a student means we are talking about the post based API. So create a student is there. And now let me go to the here. I told you everything will be same, and the server name, we are going to use the localhost. So let me copy the path of that. This is my path. Let me copy localhost. This is my local host, and here I need to put the port. Again, I tell you that if you are using a domain name, so here you can give the only the server name, and you don't need to put the port. Now this time you can say, because let me go to the document where I'm getting, this is my data for the post API. So method is post. Okay, so let me select the post from here, and now I need to copy the path. So let me copy the path. This is the path of my API. So let me copy the path. So these details will be given to you in the requirement document, so that you can test it easily. So this is my path. Okay, sorry, I don't need to put the whole thing. I need to give the, you can say, rest of the resource path, only this one. Okay, local host is already there. And okay, yeah, now you can see that one important thing, whenever you are going to, let me save it, whenever you are going to create any post based request, so what is the important thing? So if you have already gone through my API related videos, which is I've already posted separately, so you can say in my channel, so you will see that whenever you are getting a post based request, and if you will try to hit it, you will see that it will throw the error. Okay, I can show you that thing. Let me show you for the timing. Let me, these two are request running fine. So for the timing, let me disable it. So how you can disable it, just select, and you can simply click on disable button. So now this is one. Now let me click on this one. Now let me clear it, and we have a single request, and intentionally I'm going to show you that it is running fine or not. So let me run it. Let me run it, and you will see it is failing. Okay, why it is failing, I can simply tell you. In the response, you can say, let me request in the response body. Okay, let me tell you, if you see that, you will see the specific error here. Okay, I can show you. So it is saying that the server refused this command because it is not supported. So here you can say the important thing is that this thing. So I have intentionally done this thing so that you can see that whenever you are creating any request like post, put, where you are where you need to pass some data into the, you can say, then you will get this type of error, unsupported media type. Okay, one thing I have already not done. Let me do that thing also. What is that? Whenever you are creating it, you need to pass some data in the body. So now let me go here. So first of all, I will pass this data so that I can show you this is not the issue. Let me go here, and in this case you have this body data, and here you can pass the data here. Okay, so I have the data that is in the JSON form, that is okay. But you can say that I told you that if still I will try to run it. Let me you can say clear it. Okay, and if still I try to run it, it will again throw the same type of problem. Reason is that I told you have sent everything, but in whenever you are putting any data in your body, like we are putting this data because that is needed in the post. So in that case you have to put specific information in the header of the request, and that is content type. Okay, so how you can do it for this thing, let me tell you right now, that whenever you're getting with request, right click on that, and you have to add a important thing that is called, you can say that that is, you can say that you have to add the config element, and config element, you have to go to the config element, and you have to go to the HTTP header manager, because you know that whenever you are going to set something in the API header, this is the you can say header configuration part. Now you have to simply do one thing, add one thing here, and here you have to add a one header. And you know that whenever you are passing any data, it is a JSON XML. For that purpose you need to pass here a special header that is called content type. Okay, this is content type here. Okay, now here the value should be, if you are using APP LICATION application slash, if you are using XML based API, so here you have to write XML, but I'm using JSON, so it will be applications slash JSON. Okay, now let me save it. Okay, and now let me clear the, you can say this one here. Okay, now let me clear it, and now let me run it again. And when I run it here, this time you will see it is working fine. So here you can say student added successfully. Okay, and you want to see that whether this 462 ID is created. Let me run it one more time and just see that it is working fine or not. Or very good thing, we have, because we have sent this request 5 times. So let me show you. This is 462, and in, you can say 463, 464, and this 465. It means it has created 5 records on the, you can say, on the server using my post based API. Okay, so in this way, again I'm saying that whenever you're using any testing website like this one, don't try to put heavy load, because you are trying to put a heavy load, the application will come to know, okay, somebody is trying to access with a heavy number of requests, so maybe they can block your IP. Okay, so okay, that is done. We have created this one. So here what we have learned here, whenever you are getting any post-based API, you have to take the help of you can say configuration. What is that? You have to take the help of config. Here you have to take the help of config element, that is configuration, and the configuration you have to use the ST header manager. If you want to do something related to the cookie, you have to go the cookie, then you have to go cache. So we have different type of things are there. We will learn one by one whenever it is needed. Okay, so now this is done. So we have created create request here. So now tell me one thing, if I will enable all these things, how many requests will be there? 3 requests will be there, and we have 5. So 5 multiply by 5 multiply by, it will happen 5 multiply by 3. Okay, so now let me add other type of request. So again I'm going to do one thing. We have done this with create request, and now let me add, you can say that, oh, we can copy it also. Let me make duplicate. Okay, because I'm making a duplicate, because I need a instead of create, let me make a update student. Okay, update student. So it will be you can say post based API. So let me post how we are going to handle the post based API. So let me go here and let me take the example of this one. This is my post based API. So you can see that URL is same URL is there. I can copy it here, but at the end you have to pass the ID also. So I can do one thing, why I'm taking so much effort, I can do here. This is the same my API, only I need to put some data. So for example, you can say that I have a ID 4 here. Okay, let me show you what is the ID here. So ID 4 here. Okay, before running it, I will show you that I can update what is the old data of the 4, and then I can, okay, let me do one thing. Let me why I'm taking so much thing here. Let me copy this whole URL here. Okay, and let me call it from the browser. When I'm calling it from the browser, it will be treated as a get based API, get student by ID. So let me pass the API of the 4. So you can say that here, you can say that ID is 4, age is 20, and name is MAN. So what I will do, I need to update it. So I have to use the same URL. Let me go here, and I have passed it 4. Now I need to put it the update request. That's will be put here. And now here you need to modify the data, whatever you want to modify. So it was a man. So let me modify, suppose take the example. Uh, manager. So I'm just giving the example of, instead of man, I'm going to make it manager, and now let me simply run it. So here you can say one important thing is that when I you can say duplicate the create request, that is a post base, it cloned everything, it cloned the request as well header. Okay, because you know that in the update also you are passing some data in the body. So whenever you are passing some data in the body of your, you can say, API, then this should be there. Okay, because content type it's needed here. So now let me run it, and let me run it. So now, so now let me run it. So let me do one thing. Let me disable the create one for the timing, and now let me do it. Now let me clear it, and now let me run it. So you can see that it has updated. You can see here. So now detail is there. Now we can do one thing. It is already updated here, but we can verify it from here. Let me refresh it from here, and you can say that now the ID data 4 is become the manager. So this is, you can say, we have configured it. Rest of the things, you know that. What do you mean by performance testing? Means whenever we are hitting the request, multiple requests with the server. So you can say if I'm going to enable all these things, it will make a performance testing, and every user is going to create different type of request. Okay, so in this way, as you have done this thing, we can do the delete related request also. Okay, so very simple. For the delete, what you have to do, you have to simply click on that, and you have to use the delete option, this one. Okay, and now you can say that according to the your API URL, it is very pretty simple. You have to select the, you can say, this one, delete method, and this is the URL. In the URL, you know that you need to pass the ID here. So because in the delete, you are not passing, you don't need to pass any data in the body. So it means in the delete also, you don't need to create this HTTP header manager. Okay, SU header manager only needed whenever you need to pass some data in the header section. Okay, now let me do one thing. Let me enable all the components together here. This one, enable here. Now all the enables here. This is the result tree, and now you can see that, you know that how many samplers or how many types of request is there. 1 2 3 4. Okay, and we have how many threads are there? 5. So every thread will have a right to send these all requests one time. Okay, loop count means one, means every user has a right to send each one sample or each sample this time. This is called loop count, means each, how many times it can call the each sample. So 5 user can call each sample or each request one. So it will be, you know that 5 will 25. Okay, so now let me do one thing. Let me clear all the things here, and now here this is the button to run it. So let me run it. So you can see that how many requests are there. You can see here it is run the total request here, and now let me show you here. So number of samples, you can see here 20. Okay, so why it is 20? Because I told you how many requests are there. 1 2 3 4, 4 requests are there, and we have 5 threads. 5 multiply 4 become 20. Okay, so this is called the performance testing. And performance testing, what is happening whenever you are running it, it is generating the reports here, and you can see here at the same time. It is very important, whenever doing the performance testing, you can, how you can judge whether it is working fine. You can see the status here. Okay, now what you have to important thing, the performance testing, that when you are saying that okay, it is running fine, you can keep on adding the loads on your, you can say, on your application. Like you can increase the threads. Like it is my own you can say server, so it is not going to crash. So I will make 100 threads, and every thread is going to have a right to make a 10 requests. Now you can see that it means 100 thread, I'm creating 100 users, and every user can send every sample he can send 10 times. I told you this 10 means every sample every user can send 10 times. Okay, so now let me do one thing. Let me save it. Okay, let me save it. Okay, and let me save it, and let me go to the result tree, and now let me clear it. So you will say that you have to just make a calculation. Tell me in the comment box that how many requests will be there. Again, I'm telling, this is the 100 users. Every user can send every request, every sample, each sample 10 times, each sample 10 times. Okay, so now let me go to here, and now let me run it here. Okay, so I've added the, you can say, this one. So when I'm running it, at the time of running, you can see that this is the time. It is showing the your total number of, you can say, let me post cursor here. So you can say it is showing the information running thread, The first is, you can say, the running thread slash total number of threads. So everything is run, so that's why you're able to see. And this is the, you can say, total time, which is elapsed time of current running test. So this is the total, you can say, time it is taken by that. Okay, now it is done. Now you can see here it is showing you the sample. It is, you can say, running it. Still it is running it 1780, and here currently it is running the current. What is the number of current thread? Running thread is 100. Total thread is 100, and it is currently running the 100 number thread. Okay, and till the time when it is completed, automatically this will, you can say, enable. Okay, so it means it is running. You can see that it is keep on updating the number samples, average deviation, everything is, it is updating. So yeah, definitely, because we are creating the huge number of threads. Every a user can send 10 requests, so, and so it means it is a, you can say, huge thing. Okay, so now you can say that, let me go to the, you can say, here still it is running. When it's complete, you can see that you can match your answer with the number of samples, because number of samples, you know that it should be, I'm giving the hint, it should be 444. Okay, so now you can say that my this is completed, and now you can say total my automation is completed. That's why it is enable. And here you can say 4000. Why it is giving the 4000? I hope you got the answer for that. If you not, let me tell you again. I told you we have 100 threads, 100 user, and every user can send each type of sample 10 times. And how many samples we have? 4. It means every user can send every sample 10 times. So total is 4. So it will become 40. And when you multiply the 40, it means total loop count will go, total request will be created 40. 40 requests will be there, and 100 users are there. So 100 multiply 40, it will become the 4000. So that's why you're getting here. Okay, so in this way you can make the performance testing of the API also. Now currently I'm not talking about the reports and other things, because when I will run it, you can say, I will show you the separately how you can generate the reports, different type of reports, how you can analyze it. Okay, so in my next session I will talk about user defined variables. Like, you can say, for example, in my you can say, I'm creating every type request. In every type request I need to write this data, this one, multiple places. So for example, if any suppose, take the example, if my IP is going to be changed, so I need to come in every you can say, every component, every request, I need to modify it. I need to modify it also. So is there any way that I can keep these things as a common place and refer from there? So yeah, definitely the answer is user defined variables. So we will learn this user defined variables in my next session. Okay, so I hope you got the idea of API load testing. If you have any type of doubt, you can put me in the comment of this video. Thank you.